On Sky News today, Tony Romo arrested over suspected immigration offence in Canada. The 41-year-old was released later on Monday morning. This is a good one to cover, ladies and gents, because as usual, it displays the mind-melting hypocrisy of the insane, deranged, delusional lefty activists who constantly somehow manage to believe dozens of contradictory things all at the same time. Because the response of the likes of Carol, Rubber Lips, Latex Cheeks, Balsa Wood Fanny Vorderman was obviously one of crowing delight. Tony Romo arrested as an illegal immigrant in Canada. It's Rwanda for you, my boy. This really is an election run-up that just keeps on giving, isn't it? Yeah, so you're reading that right. All of a sudden, not only are they big believers in border control and immigration officials arresting people if they break the rules, they're massively behind that all of a sudden. But they're even pro-Rwanda policy all of a sudden. You couldn't make it up, could you? Well, you could. We've seen it before. As I keep saying, the only response to these people is to laugh. You have to treat it with humour, because the reason they're so mind-meltingly hypocritical all of the time is because they want to drive you wild. It's how they get the glorious revolution, by constantly getting people at each other's throats. And the logical conclusion to take from a tweet like that is so in your face with the hypocrisy and crowing and gloating about it, when they'll cry about the Rwanda policy and immigration policies if they're applied to unvetted, dangerous men from the most dangerous countries on the world. They'll cry about them then. But the second someone who they've turned into a political adversary gets nicked, they absolutely love it, and civil liberties and everything else can be damned. If it was down to Carol Vorderman, they would just handcuff him with his hands behind his back and then just drown him in the bathtub. And they'd love that. The tolerant ones, they would love it. Anyway, it's enough rambling. Let's cover the story, shall we? I won't even use those two words at the front. They have to preface these stories of their own nonsense, ludicrous opinions whenever they're talking about factual occurrences. Activist Tony Romo has been arrested in Canada on suspicion of an immigration offence. Robinson was held on Monday before being released, having been ordered to stay in the country and hand in his passport. Footage posted online showed him being handcuffed and led to the back of a waiting car. A man who appeared to be a plainclothes police officer told him he was being detained under an outstanding immigration warrant, and the 41-year-old said on X, "None of this makes sense. I'm now detained in Calgary, prevented from leaving the city, and these conditions stop me from continuing my tour of Canada and meeting with guests for podcasts." And if you watch the footage, they are quite happy to physically restrain him and handcuff him with his hands behind his back. Something that you never see on the beaches in the south of England when unvetted fighting age men turn up. No, they are handed bottles of water and blankets and iPhones and ushered straight off to a hotel. But if you're a 41-year-old family man, you get surrounded by 8 blokes and carted off, marched away with your hands handcuffed behind you.
What got warrant for?
You've got an outstanding immigration warrant. We'll talk about it in the vehicle. Okay?
Got one outstanding warrant?
Yep, outstanding immigration warrant. We'll talk about it in the vehicle, okay?
How do you look, eh? You've got 190.
Okay, all right.
What about my stuff? What about my stuff? My
We'll get your
passport?
stuff.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, there you go. Frog march to the car, hands behind his back, handcuffs on. You know, I never ever saw Abu Hamza wearing handcuffs. You know, he finished some insane tirade about wiping an entire race of people off the face of the earth. I never once saw him getting taken anywhere in his handcuffs, although I suppose you could just unscrew his hook and then get out of his bonds quite easily, couldn't he? Ezra Levant from Rebel Media tweeted about it, saying he's been released, but he must turn in his passport and remain Southern Alberta, and obviously the crowdfunding a lawyer for him. He further stated, "I'm not even allowed to travel home," and he had been booked to speak in 3 Canadian cities by an outlet called Rebel News. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. At the end of the day, he's been booked to speak in cities because thousands and thousands of people are willing to pay to go and watch him speak. They're entitled to hear his opinions, no? No? Nah. The people that are protecting democracy will tell you what you're allowed to listen to. and what you're allowed to think and what you're allowed to say, because they're protecting democracy. Yeah. Deciding for yourself, no, that is fascism. Ladies and gentlemen, thinking for yourself, one of the only real freedoms you've got is to think for yourself, and they're even taking that away from you. It's beyond parody at this point. We've all seen the footage of thousands and thousands of unvetted men rocking up in places like Canada and the United States and England and France and Germany, and they're never carted away in handcuffs, are they? They're treated with kid gloves. And some of them have then gone on to commit atrocities. The Brussels bombing, the Nice truck attack. There's been attacks in Berlin and Hamburg and all across Europe. And the people that commit them often were illegal, unvetted migrant men. But a bloke like Tony Romo, a known quantity, who we know for a fact isn't going to fill his hissing backpack with rat poison and ball bearings and blow himself up outside a pop concert, or drag a 13-year-old girl into the bushes and smash her back doors in whilst 10 of his Moroccan friends video it. He is getting treated like Jeffrey Dahmer. So if that makes sense to you, have at it. You're welcome to your opinions, you absolute psychopath. But to me, I just think it's more of the same. It's more of us being proved right that the iron-shod boots of the authoritarian statists are stomping on your windpipe and laughing as they do it. As they grind you into the dirt, they're telling you, democracy matters. Yeah, we're the good guys. Don't listen to Tony Romo. At the end of the day, if that image doesn't bother you at all, after seeing how many thousands of men have been leaping off boats and into hotels with not a shackle in sight, you have to tell me why it's logical. You have to tell me why Carol Vorderman all of a sudden is pro-immigration controls, pro-arresting and detaining migrants, and pro-Rwanda policy, and somehow make it make sense. You have to perform mental gymnastics, the likes of which Simone Biles crossed with Stephen Hawking couldn't achieve to make it make sense. So please, if you can manage it, let me know in the comments. All right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. But let's see what ludicrous, staggeringly hypocritical Shiite occurs in the next 24 hours, shall we? At least it's never dull. Thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.